So when a person meet FAST standard, FASD, he is already an excellent worker. And he should meet 99.9% of the requirement of the job. Right? So now let's put it all together. FASD is in the right sequence. Right? Friendly and helpful. If you find a person who is not friendly and helpful, you should just stop there and don't even hiring and get rid of him, because there's no need to proceed to be training him to be accurate, to be speedy, or to be on time. He doesn't meet your standards, so it's better. And especially in the hospitality line, you need friendly and helpfulness. Yeah. So once you meet this standard of friendly and helpfulness, you move to accuracy, right? So they learn how to work accurately and improve the job, right? And again, after friendly and helpful, it should be accurate first, right? So again, if he fails in accuracy, stop. You don't need this guy anymore. So if he can work to the accuracy of 99.9%, then you move to the next point, speed. Is his speed improving and is his speed dropping? And whatever my observation is like that, when a person's speed is not improving, my observation is actually the person is not interested in the job. He doesn't have interest. So if he doesn't have interest, you have a problem, because you know he will fail. So you have to probe and see whether he is suitable for another job. Because if he's friendly and helpful and he's accurate, you can probably divert him to a job that he loves to do. And the moment he loves that job, his speed will improve, right? And finally, timeliness, right? So after it's friendly, helpful, accurate, and speedy in his work, if it is not on time, it's also useless for you, right? So if there's in timeliness, and basically it is, the other thing I learned is that a person who have learned how to be more accurate and speed of work, the timeliness improve. It's like what I mentioned, the spreadsheet I designed, right? It is accurate because all the assumption formulas are already fixed, right? Is it speedy? Because instead of taking a week or 3 days to do a cash flow projection, you can do it in 1 hour, right? And because it is accurate and speedy, chances of you hitting timeliness is better. Okay. Let's move on. So you know what you want. So basically, before you point a finger at somebody and says that you are not doing your job, remember, 3 fingers are pointing back at you. You cannot say you're fired, 3 fingers pointing. Most company SOP is the first 2 fingers. What is to be done and how is it to be done, right? So, but there's one crucial element missing, and actually that is why, right? Why should we care that the person understand why? Yeah. Okay, so the most important thing about why is that it is motivating for the staff, right? But let's move on. I'll come back to the motivation part later on. So when you have FASD standard, you can also manage your boss, right? When you report to somebody, you should ask your boss, how do you want me to be helpful and friendly and helpful? He should be able to tell you. Because if he doesn't tell you and he cannot come and accuse you that you are not helping, friendly and helpful. Same thing with accuracy. You should say, how do I do it? Let me repeat until I get to accuracy to that level. And you just challenge him. Is it accuracy level good enough? And you know his expectation. And same thing for speed. Ask you to do something, you say, okay, I can now do it in 45 minutes, but maybe after 6 weeks, I'll bring it down to 30 minutes. Is it acceptable? And finally, deadlines. Always negotiate and agree upon. Yeah. And most important thing is ask the why. Why do we want to explain why? It's when you explain why, the other person should understand. So you get commitment, so they understand the reason for doing the job. And they can also help to say how to improve the job to make it easier, right? In the Everly Group, our why challenge is this: what is the best practice in the world, irrespective of industry? So we are very fast copier. We copy from any industry. As long as that work for us, we are copying. And we have I have a promise in the company. If we see a better way of working that can improve our friendly and helpfulness, accuracy and speed, I will change our SOP within 3 months. Yeah. So let's move on. So you know already what you're going to measure. So I'm going to share with you, there are 3 types of people you need to manage. You have the top, maybe 25-30%, your high achiever, the middle, moderate performers, and then you have poor performers. And the most important thing you got to learn is the way you approach them has to be different, because the same way of doing will not motivate all 3. For the high achievers, it's like this. If you explain the why, that they can help to contribute to improve the job, these people, high achievers, are very motivated, self-motivated. So fully understand the performance measure also mean their career progression. And once they understand the what and how and why, you can be assured that they will get the job done. Then let's move down to the poor performer. Explain the why to poor performer will never work. So you got to move to what is called negative motivation. You don't give warning, you can give disincentive, and for us, pay cuts is very difficult because especially Malaysian law, and you have to watch out. But we have what is called the variable compensation, a service point and all. So we will put him, like in ice hockey, put him on the bench. For the next 3 months, you will lose one of your service point. And within the 3 months on the bench, you do it again, it extend to 6 months. And you do it one more time, extend to 9 months. But for a lot of rank and file staff, the moment they lose 3 points, it is a significant part of their income. And a lot of time, they will leave. And the last step is you got to terminate them, right? So that's how you handle the poor performers. Let's move on to the moderate performers. Explaining the why may or may not work. So you need to use a combination of persuasion and punishment. So sometimes the positive part works, sometimes the negative part works. So you have to be savvy as a boss to say which one I use. So my best way of explaining is to use the English Premier League, right? In this example, I'm using, it was I think a few years ago, the result. The top 4 teams in the green, this is towards the end of the season. They are going to the UEFA Championship Club. So they are very highly motivated. Then you have the bottom 3. They are relegated to a lower league. That means they are losing their job already. So you get rid of them. Then the middle group, you will see that the number 4 is basically they are the 5th place, or they are the FA Cup winner, and they can go to Europa League, which means that it's just like a wild card. So the middle group, they will then, because they can't be the top and they know they won't be relegated. So the only way to motivate them is to say that you can go to UEFA League, which is the 2nd level. And the way is you win the FA Cup or League Cup. So these people tend to feel their best team because it's a knockout system. They can knock out the top 4 by just 1 game. And then they get themselves ready to be rewarded to go there. And if you look at the end of the season, you will see number 4 is trying to fight to become the top 4. And number 6 is trying to fight to become the number 4. Now, 6 or 7 will become 4, 5. So there's competition there. And at the bottom, towards the end of the season, the bottom 2 will be fight the bottom what the bottom three will try to fight not to be relegated, and the few teams above them are fighting not to be dropped down to that level. So when you have that type of competition at the end of the season, roughly 12 out of 20 teams are motivated, either positive or negatively. And as long as you can have a team that is 60% motivated, you have done a very good job. Okay, let's talk in terms of managing the staff. If the staff fail in doing FAST for their job, you can't point to him because all three fingers are pointing back at you, right? But you have trained them. They've explained the what, the how, and the why. So by right, he should be able to do the job. But if he failed the first time, the answer is still no. You are still to be blamed. The reason is very simple. You may not have explained it well to him that he can understand. So I always say that if a person cannot understand you, the problem is with the speaker, not the listener, right? So the speaker got to explain in a way that the person can understand. So you then train him again the second time, right? So after you train him the second time, he failed again. So I'm sorry, you are also to be blamed again, because the test become you explain, but did you ensure that he understood what you meant of the how, what, and why? And this time, when you train, you repeat the training, you ask question until you know he can answer all your what ifs question and he fully understand. So this time he fully understand. So let's move on. After that, he failed the third time, right? He really understood the test, but he failed the third time. So as a leader, now all the three fingers, you have done your job already. So when you have a finger like that, it is time to slap the staff. No, I mean, I don't literally. It is time to get rid of the person. And this also follow our legal system, where for a staff, we have to give 3 warning letters before we can terminate the staff. But so basically, figuratively speaking, we need to sack the staff. And sometimes it's like this. When the staff gets sacked, later on, he learned about it. He said, oh, yeah, finally, I should understand why I should be sacked. So what happened when the staff is performing all FAST for that job and he is doing very well, right? Because he needs to know how he's going to progress. So career progression are like this. There is a specialist who specializes in the job, who don't like to lead or cannot lead, and there's a leader. The career progression of the two are different. For the specialist, his way is to find how to improve the job and be the best in the world. So if you're an artist, you've got to be more creative. If you are a service person, you've got to do your job better, right? So the specialist is because his competency level keep improving, and his scope of what he can do keep improving, that's how his pay go up in his job. The leader is slightly different. The leader must be competent in whatever he's doing to a certain level. However, he is going to be the leader. So he got to lead his team to learn about lean manufacturing, ICC, 5S, etc. So the team is improving, and he set up better methods and that improve fast, right? So that is his job. He's trying to improve everything. So what's next after this? Yeah. So I want to share with you about situational leadership. You must understand this so that we can move along this journey. In situational leadership, we have 4 quadrants. One is bottom right, high motivation, low performance. So you basically really control him. And then as his motivation go up, you start to move to a coaching, and then as his ability to perform, you go to supporting, and finally he's very competent, he's very motivated, you should leave him alone. Right, that's basically situation leadership. You should read this book. I think you will learn a lot from it. But there's one thing I've learned because I thought if a person is working for me, let's say he's in sales, he's very good, I promote him, and I don't manage him using situation leadership, I found sadly that I made a mistake. Because now, if he's a leader, he's in charge of production instead of sales. Guess where he is? He's on the bottom right quadrant. You should be directing him what to do, move him up to coaching, supporting, and then delegation. And so is in personnel, so in accounting. So it's functional area by functional area. You got to follow that curve until he's competent in all 8 areas. So let's go. So we want them to move to the next level, which means you are not only can work fast, you should always aim faster. So the specialist must always behave this way and become the best in the field. And today, for a specialist, it's becoming even more challenging because now we have a lot of development in AI and a lot of jobs are being taken by that. But the specialist can work smarter. He can also incorporate AI to do his job even better. The leader, he must always behave that way. That means the only way he expresses he is aim faster is he's behaving that way, and the team can self-improve because that's his job as a leader. Also, he has trained somebody to take over his job. And finally, the last step is he must be able to terminate poor performance so the whole team can perform. And when he can do all this, he is actually ready to be promoted, right? So I'm going to use the baseball metaphor, right? In baseball, there are 4 bases. The bottom one is the home base. Right is first base, top is second base, and on the left is third base. And if you can complete the run, you come back to home base, you have a run. So in the management side sense, the home base is your promotion. So let's go. You start a job, you're at the home base, you're learning to do the job, right? But you can now aim fast. That means all the requirement of the job, friendly and helpful, accurate, speed of work and timely, you are able to do. So you become an excellent worker. You're already at first base. You're doing your job very well, right? Actually, the company should appreciate it. The next step is, do you improve on the job, which is we're going to say second base. I call it aim faster. This is improving your job, both as a specialist and as a leader. And as a leader, you're bringing the team to improve all the processes they do so the whole team performance is better. So what you do after that, you go to the third base. I use the word always aim faster. Because you must behave that way and you must be able to do it. And to reach the third base, as a leader, you must be ready to terminate the non-performers. Because if you have a non-performer in the team, you have not really done your job in preparing yourself for the third base. And then what do you do when you reach the third base? Because the third base, the next step is the promotion, correct? So it's like this. When you are at third base and you are always showing behavior characteristics of always aim faster, you have a choice. You look at the company has career progression for you, tell him what type of job you're going to move up to, has training program, and also tell you what's going to happen to you the next 3 to 5 years. If the company had that progression in mind, it's a good company. You should stay there and aim higher for the next level. But once you're promoted for the new higher job, please remember you are back at the home base learning the job. Now, if the company do not have a career progression in place, it's time to fire the company. You should depart and look for a new job. Thank you.